On April 23, 1564, William Shakespeare was born in this half-timbered house in Stratford upon Avon. 52 years later, he died on that same day and was buried here, inside the local parish church. Most writers and actors of the 16th century eventually fade into the background of history, their specific style of speech disappearing with the era that created them. But Shakespeare's work persisted. Today, he is widely cited as the most significant writer in the history of the English language. He is known simply as the Bard of Avon. This survival across 4 centuries is tied to a body of work that utilized nearly every structural form a story can take. To understand the reach of his influence, we have to look at the physical scale of what he actually produced. Over his career, he wrote approximately 39 distinct plays for the stage. Beyond the theater, he produced a massive collection of 154 sonnets. When you add his several other long-form narrative poems, you see the full architecture of his output. However, sheer volume does not explain why these texts are still performed. The endurance of his work comes from how he organized his ideas. He used 3 specific genres, history, comedy, and tragedy, as distinct tools to examine different parts of the world around him. He used the history plays to look at national identity and the pressures placed on those in power. In works like Henry V, Richard III, and Richard II, he dramatized the internal mechanics of the English throne. These plays provided a map of how political betrayal and the pursuit of power can dismantle a person. His comedies shifted the focus entirely, moving from the state of the nation to the chaos of personal relationships, including A Midsummer Night's Dream, The Merchant of Venice, Twelfth Night, and As You Like It. These stories used romance and mistaken identity to show that everyday human folly is as complex as any political maneuver. By writing for both the violent scale of kings and the intimate scale of lovers, he demonstrated a range of observation that few writers have matched. But his darkest explorations of the human mind happened within the tragedies. Here he produced his most recognized works, Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, King Lear, and Romeo and Juliet. These scripts focus on the most difficult human experiences, specifically the consequences of ambition, paranoia, jealousy, and revenge. Each play follows a similar mechanic. A character's specific flaw drives them toward an unavoidable collapse. Together, these 3 genres served as instruments he used to dissect the mechanics of human nature. The insights he recorded in the early 1600s remain visible in the way we communicate today. Modern English drama and literature still rely on the structural innovations and character archetypes he established. Because the plays deal with psychological themes that have not changed in 400 years, the stories stay relevant to each new generation. This presence extends into the actual vocabulary we use to describe our feelings. We still use hundreds of idioms and expressions that were originally written into his scripts. William Shakespeare remains a primary source of the language we speak and the stories we use to recognize ourselves.